The photo I sent was supposed to be a joke. But when I got one back, showing me at my desk, I realized someone or something was watching me. It started on a boring Thursday night. I was sitting in my room, scrolling through random memes and creepy videos, when I came across an old post about the MOMO doll. Most people know it as one of those internet scare fads, creepy, exaggerated stories of kids messaging a number and supposedly being cursed. I never believed any of it. I was 17 then, home alone, and in one of those moods where you're looking for something to spook yourself. So I downloaded one of those grainy MOMO doll photos and sent it to a random number I made up. It wasn't even a full number, just digits punched in for a laugh. My message said, "Hey, want to play a game?" Yeah, I laughed at how dumb it was, tossed my phone on the desk and went back to scrolling. Not even 5 minutes later, my phone buzzed. I figured it was a Snapchat notification or some spam. But when I glanced at the screen, my chest tightened. The number I'd sent the picture to had replied. It was a photo. At first, I didn't process what I was looking at. Then I froze. The picture was of me, sitting right there at my desk, hunched over my computer, the glow of my monitor lighting up my face. The room behind me looked exactly as it did in that moment. The unmade bed, the closet door cracked slightly open, the hoodie tossed over the chair. It was like someone had been standing in my room just seconds before, holding up their phone and snapping the photo. I whipped around so fast I almost fell off my chair. Nothing. No one. Just my messy room and the faint hum of my computer fan. I told myself it had to be a prank, some glitch, or maybe a friend who somehow spoofed the number. But deep down, I already knew. No one had that angle, that shot. I hadn't sent it to a friend. My phone buzzed again. Another message. This time it wasn't a photo, just text. It read, "I can see you." I locked the phone and shoved it face down on the desk like that would somehow block it. My heart was racing, ears straining for any sound. The house was dead quiet, except for the occasional creak of wood. Then came a faint sound I'll never forget, the click of my closet door shifting. I whipped my head toward it. The gap in the door, which had been just a couple inches before, now looked wider. I grabbed a baseball bat I kept near my bed, forced myself up, and yanked the door open. Clothes, shoes, a pile of boxers. Empty. I stood there, gripping the bat, trying to convince myself I was just imagining things, when the phone buzzed again. My hands were trembling as I picked it up. Another photo. This one made my stomach drop. It was me again, still standing at my desk with the bat in my hand. But behind me, in the corner near my closet, there was something else. Figure. Tall. Thin. With a face that didn't look human. Stretched pale, with those bulging glassy eyes. The MOMO doll. I spun around so fast I nearly hit the wall with the bat. But again, the corner was empty. Nothing there. Just shadows. My phone buzzed again. A new message. Don't look away. I felt like my body wasn't mine anymore, just ice and adrenaline. My instincts screamed to run out of the house, but my legs wouldn't move. My eyes kept darting to the corners, to the closet, to the dark window reflecting my pale face. The next photo came within seconds.
Ow.
This one showed me standing exactly where I was, bat raised, eyes wide.
Ow.
And right behind me, closer this time, was that same stretched face, leaning toward me. That's when I lost it. I dropped the phone, bolted down the stairs, and ran out the front door into the night air. I didn't stop until I was halfway down the street, barefoot, clutching the bat like a lifeline. I ended up spending the night at a friend's place. Told him pieces of what happened, but not all of it. Didn't want to sound insane. When I finally went back home the next morning, my phone was still lying there on the floor of my room. There were no new messages, no photos, no proof. Just the same cracked screen staring back at me. I deleted the number, factory reset the phone, even changed it a month later. But sometimes, when I'm sitting at my desk at night, I feel the urge to check over my shoulder. Because I'll never forget the last photo I saw before I ran. The MOMO doll's face almost touching mine, those eyes fixed directly at me. And the text beneath it that I didn't notice until later. Next time, don't run. The first time I heard my daughter whispering to it in the dark, I thought it was just pretend play. But the night its glass eyes turned toward my bedroom door, I knew something else was in the house. It started about 2 weeks after my husband and I let our daughter Emily pick a toy from a thrift store near our neighborhood. She was 6, full of energy and obsessed with dolls. While I browsed the aisles, she tugged my sleeve and held up a strange one I'd never seen before. Its body looked handmade, stitched together with mismatched fabric, but what unsettled me most were its eyes. They weren't the painted kind you see on most dolls. They were glassy, bulging like taxidermy eyes pressed into a too small face. The smile was painted on, wide and cracked. I told her it looked broken and creepy, but Emily clutched it tight and said she wants me. I should have said no, but she rarely begged for anything, and I brushed it off as just a doll. We paid the couple dollars, and she named it Momo on the ride home. For the first few days, it seemed harmless. Emily carried it everywhere. To the table, to the bathroom door, even tucked it into bed beside her. But then her behavior started changing. She was usually a sweet, polite kid. Lately, she'd wake up in the middle of the night screaming. Other times, she'd sit in the corner of her room, doll in her lap, whispering in a voice so low I couldn't make out the words. When I'd ask what she was saying, she'd blink up at me like I'd interrupted her and say, "I'm just playing Momo's game." One night, I heard the sound of her little feet padding down the hall. I got up thinking she was heading for the bathroom. Instead, I found her standing completely still in the kitchen, holding a knife from the counter. Her eyes were glazed over like she was half asleep. I gently took the knife from her hand and asked what she was doing. She whispered, "Momo," said I have to. That was the first time I felt real fear. My husband and I tried to take the doll away the next day. We told Emily it was old and dirty, that she'd be better off with one of her newer toys. She cried harder than I'd ever seen before, clawing at my arms, screaming like we were hurting her. "Momo will get mad," she shrieked. "She'll come for you." Against our better judgment, we gave it back just to calm her down. But after that, I started noticing other things. The doll wasn't always where we left it. I'd put it on a shelf while Emily was at school, only to find it sitting on her bed when I went back in. Once I walked into Emily's room and swore its head had turned slightly toward me. Then came the night that broke me. It was around 2 a.m. I woke to the sound of soft, deliberate footsteps outside our bedroom door. At first, I thought it was Emily again, but something about the pacing, slow, dragging, made my skin prickle. I whispered for my husband, and we both sat up staring at the door. The sound stopped. The hallway fell silent. Then, ever so faintly, we heard whispering. I couldn't make out the words, but it was 2 voices. One was definitely Emily's. The other was wrong. Too low, too garbled, like it was struggling to form human sounds. I forced myself out of bed, heart hammering, and opened the door. The hallway was empty, dark except for the faint glow of the nightlight at the end. Emily's door was cracked open. I pushed it wider, and that's when I saw it. Emily was fast asleep in her bed, breathing softly. But the doll. The doll was sitting upright in the little chair by her desk. Its head was tilted unnaturally, glass eyes not facing Emily at all, but staring directly down the hall, directly at our bedroom door. I froze. My husband stepped in behind me, saw it, and swore under his breath. Without another word, he walked over, grabbed the doll, and stuffed it into the closet, slamming the door shut. We barely slept the rest of the night. The next morning, Emily cried when she saw the closet locked. She accused us of hurting Momo. Her exact words still echo in my head. She told me you Don T want her here. She said she'll come in even if you lock the door. We donated the doll that same day, and dropped it at the same thrift store, paid no attention to the cashier's blank look, and drove away. I should have felt relief, but that night, something chilled me to the bone. At around 3 a.m., I woke to the sound of a faint tap against our bedroom door. Just once, then silence. I didn't dare open it. When I checked Emily's room in the morning, she was sitting up in bed, smiling like nothing had happened. But when I asked how she slept, she whispered, "Momo came back last night. She said she knows where your room is now." It started as just another sleepless night of scrolling through random live streams. But one of them wasn't random. It was waiting for me. I was sitting in my apartment around 1 a.m., too wired to sleep. To kill time, I started hopping between late-night streams. Usually it's the same stuff: gaming, music, people talking to a handful of viewers. Then I found one that didn't look like the others. The thumbnail was almost pitch black, except for two faint reflections. They looked like eyes. The title was just a string of numbers and letters, no actual name. I don't know why I clicked it, but I did. The feed opened to a single chair in the middle of a dark room. Sitting in the chair was something I recognized right away. The MOMO Doll. That grotesque, bird-like face, the stretched smile, the bulging eyes that seemed like they could pop out of the screen. Its thin black hair hung over its shoulders, and the longer I looked at it, the more wrong it felt. Like it wasn't just a doll. There was no sound, no movement, just the camera fixed on the thing's face. About 30 people were watching. The chat was filled with people daring the streamer to move it, laughing, or spamming nonsense. I stayed on the stream, half expecting a jump scare, but nothing happened for several minutes. I was about to close it when the screen flickered. When it came back, the doll's head was angled differently. Its chin dipped lower, and now it looked like its eyes were staring directly at me. The chat blew up. It moved. Bro. Rewind. It just moved. I sat frozen. Kept telling myself it had to be fake. But then the audio cut in. At first, it was just static. Then I realized I was hearing breathing. Low, wet, uneven. The camera started to zoom closer, slowly, like someone was pushing it forward an inch at a time. The doll's pale face filled the screen. And then, in a voice that sounded broken, like vocal cords tearing, it spoke. It said my full name, not my username. Not anything tied to the account I was using. My real full name. I felt my stomach drop. My whole body went cold. The chat went crazy, asking who it was talking to, but I already knew. It wasn't talking to them. It was talking to me. I slammed the laptop shut so hard, it echoed through the apartment. For a long time, I just sat there, staring into the dark, telling myself it had to be some coincidence or trick. But I couldn't explain how they would know my name. When I finally worked up the nerve to open my laptop again, the stream was gone. The link didn't exist anymore. That should have been the end of it, but it wasn't. The next day, when I got home from work, I noticed something on my desk. Right next to my laptop was a single strand of long black hair. I live alone. After that, things only got worse. My laptop would turn on by itself. The speakers would hiss with static, even when it wasn't plugged in. At night, I'd wake up to faint noises in my room. A slow, wet breathing, just like from the stream. And then last night, it came back. At 3 a.m., my laptop lit up on its own. I don't know what made me look, but I did. There was a live stream open. Same dark room, same chair, same doll. Only this time, the camera wasn't far away. It was right up against its face, and the doll's eyes. They weren't pointed at the camera anymore. They were pointed down. Like it was looking through the screen, but at me. I slammed the laptop shut, yanked the power cable out, and shoved it under my bed. I haven't touched it since. But tonight, while I was writing this down, I heard the soft chime of a notification. And in the corner of my room, where it's darkest, I swear I heard a whisper. It said my name. When I left for work that morning, my apartment was empty. But when I came back that night, something was waiting for me at the kitchen table. I live alone in a small one-bedroom apartment on the 3rd floor of an older building. It's not much, but it's been mine for the last 3 years. I've always felt safe there. That night, I came home from a late shift around 10:30. The hallway outside was unusually quiet, and as I unlocked my door, I remember thinking how much I just wanted to heat up leftovers, shower, and collapse into bed. The moment I stepped inside, something felt wrong. The air was heavy, almost still, as if no one had opened a window all day. I kicked off my shoes, dropped my bag, and walked into the kitchen. That's when I saw it. Sitting at my table was the MOMO doll. If you've ever seen it, you know how disturbing it is. The bug-like eyes, the stretched grin, the lank black hair. But seeing it in person, sitting where I usually ate breakfast, made my stomach turn. I froze in the doorway. My first thought was that someone had broken in and left it as a sick joke. But the lock hadn't been tampered with, and nothing else looked disturbed. The doll just sat there, tilted slightly to one side, its wide eyes fixed on the doorway. I don't own a MOMO doll. I've never bought one, never even looked at one in person before that night. I backed out of the kitchen and grabbed my phone, debating whether to call the police. But what would I even say? Hi, there's a creepy doll in my apartment. It didn't feel like something anyone would take seriously. Trying to stay calm, I grabbed a towel from the bathroom, came back into the kitchen, and tossed it over the doll without touching it. I scooped it up carefully, holding it at arm's length, and dropped it in the hallway trash chute. I told myself that was the end of it. Some neighbor probably thought it would be funny to scare me, or maybe they left it in the wrong apartment by mistake. But deep down, I couldn't shake the feeling that the doll wasn't supposed to be there, that it hadn't been brought inside. That night I couldn't sleep. I kept hearing faint creaks from the kitchen, like the sound of a chair shifting across the floor. Every time I worked up the courage to check, nothing was there. The next morning I left early for work, just to clear my head. But when I came home later that evening, my stomach dropped. The doll was back. It was sitting at the table again. Same chair, same position. The towel I had used was gone. I felt ice in my veins. I hadn't told anyone what happened. One else had a key. This time I didn't touch it. I bolted out of my apartment, ran down the stairs, and knocked on my neighbor's door. He came out confused and followed me back inside. But when we stepped into the kitchen, the chair was empty. The doll wasn't there anymore. My neighbor looked at me like I was losing my mind. I tried to explain, but I could see on his face he didn't believe me. After he left, I sat in the living room with every light on, staring at the kitchen doorway. Hours passed and nothing happened. Eventually, exhaustion won, and I dozed off on the couch. Woke up around 3 a.m. to a sound I'll never forget. Slow, deliberate tapping on the wooden floor, like bare feet walking across the room. I didn't move. I didn't even breathe. And then, from the corner of my eye, I saw it. The doll was standing in the doorway, its thin arms hanging at its sides, its head tilted just enough that its bulging eyes locked onto mine. I don't remember what happened next. I must have blacked out, because when I came to, the sun was rising through the blinds, and the doorway was empty. I searched the entire apartment from top to bottom, but the doll was gone. No trace of it. I moved out the following week. But sometimes late at night when the apartment is silent and I'm half asleep, I hear it again. Those soft, uneven footsteps crossing the floor toward me. And I know it's only a matter of time before it finds me again. The first picture showed the doll sitting at the foot of my bed. The last picture showed it standing right beside me, while I was still asleep. It started on a Tuesday night. I had just gotten home from work, exhausted, and collapsed onto the couch. Around 11:15, my phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. Normally I'd ignore it, but the preview caught my eye. It was a picture. When I opened it, my stomach dropped. The photo showed the MOMO Doll, that disturbing, wide-eyed figure with greasy black hair and a stretched, unnatural grin. It was sitting in the corner of a dimly lit bedroom. Not mine, at least not at first glance. Beneath the picture was a timer. 7 hours, 0 minutes, and 0 seconds. A countdown. At first I thought it was some stupid prank, maybe a scam. But as I stared at the photo, something about the room felt uncomfortably familiar. The walls, the carpet, it was my bedroom. I locked my phone and set it face down, telling myself I was imagining it. But unease sat heavy in my chest. After a few minutes, curiosity got the better of me. I checked again. The timer had dropped to 6 hours, 59 minutes, and 32 seconds. It was still counting down. I double-checked my locks, looked around my apartment, even checked under the bed like a child. Everything was normal. By midnight, I had convinced myself it was some kind of edited photo. It'd be someone I knew messing with me. I turned off the lights and got into bed, trying not to think about it. At 1:15 a.m., another buzz, another photo. This time, the MOMO doll wasn't in the corner. It was sitting at the end of my bed. Same wide eyes, same crooked grin, stringy hair draped over its shoulders as if it had leaned forward, and the timer had dropped to 5 hours, 0 minutes, and 0 seconds. I felt cold all over. My hand shook as I zoomed in on the photo. I could see details that shouldn't have been there if it was fake. The pattern of the blanket, the slight mess of clothes on the floor. It was my room right now. I didn't sleep. I sat upright with every light on, clutching my phone like a weapon. But the countdown ticked on. At 2:15, another buzz. This time, the doll was closer. Sitting halfway up the bed, its grotesque head tilted toward the camera, toward me. The timer read for hours, 0 minutes, and 0 seconds. I tried calling the number, but it wouldn't connect. I called my best friend, but he didn't answer. I even thought about calling the police, but what could I say? That a doll was texting me pictures of itself moving closer to my bed. At 3:15, I got the fourth picture. It was standing now, at the side of the bed, just inches away from where my head rested on the pillow. The timer, 3 hours, 0 minutes, and 0 seconds. I couldn't breathe, couldn't think. Every instinct screamed at me to get out. I grabbed my keys, bolted out of the apartment, and sat in my car in the parking lot. My hands trembled as I held my phone, waiting for the next image. 4:15 a.m. Another photo. This one froze my blood. It wasn't just the doll. It was me. I was in the bed, asleep. My chest rose and fell in the photo, as if someone had been standing right there, leaning over me. The doll stood beside me, its long hair brushing my shoulder, and the timer read 2 hours, 0 minutes, and 0 seconds. I felt sick, because I wasn't in the bed anymore. I was outside. Which meant that picture wasn't from before. It was from now. I couldn't bring myself to go back inside. I sat in my car until the sun came up, watching the timer drop second by second. At 6:15, the final photo came through. It showed me again, still in the bed. Only this time I wasn't breathing. My body was still. My eyes were open, staring at the ceiling. And the doll was gone. The timer hit 0 hours, 0 minutes, and 0 seconds. I don't remember leaving out. I don't remember driving. All I know is I woke up hours later at a friend's house, shaking, with my phone on the floor beside me. Every picture was gone. The messages had vanished as if they'd never existed. But I don't sleep in that apartment anymore, because sometimes, even now, my phone buzzes late at night with no notification, no message. It's just a faint sound of static, like something waiting for me to pick it up. And I know if I ever open it again, I'll see her standing there,